Hi friends, welcome back to my kitchen. Welcome if you're new. I'm Cheryl. This is Table Full of Joy. And friends, I've got an exciting video for you guys today. Super excited about this. It is almost Thanksgiving. We have a fresh pumpkin. We are going to roast this today. We're going to roast the pumpkin seeds. We're going to get our puree ready for some delicious pumpkin pies this Thanksgiving. But we're also going to make a delicious recipe today with this pumpkin puree once it comes out of the oven. So let's get this pumpkin cut up, get it on some foil, get it in a 375-degree oven, and we're gonna let this roast for probably about an hour. It takes quite a while for that puree to soften up or for the flesh to soften up a little bit so that we can get this in our food processor and get it pureed. So let's get our pumpkin cut open. I love doing a fresh pumpkin. I have not done one in a very long time. I used to do a fresh pumpkin every year. This is a really hard one. I probably need my bigger knife, but we're just gonna go with this one. What doesn't want to cut through is this piece over here. So we're gonna get it cut all the way through, and then we will deal with that stem. If you have never done a fresh pumpkin, I highly, highly recommend it, friends. It is so, so fun to do a fresh pumpkin. I've got a spoon. I'm gonna go ahead and scoop out our seeds. I love fresh pumpkin seeds. They are an absolute favorite snack of mine. We're gonna season these up in a little bit and we're gonna roast those in the oven. But for right now, we just need to get all of this flesh out. And it can be a little bit of a chore. I mean, I'm sure if you guys have ever done pumpkins with your kids or your grandkids or whatever the case may be, you know that it's always kind of a chore to get all of that out. But just take a couple of minutes and just really get in there with a spoon and get all of that, all those strings out, all of those pumpkin seeds. Move my bowl out of the way so I don't dump it on the floor. And you're not trying to get perfect. So I used to do a fresh pumpkin every year. We would go to the farm, we would get our fresh pumpkin, I would come home, I would roast it, get all of the puree out of it, and then I would have it ready for Thanksgiving. And I have not done that in years and I really missed it. When I was out at the farm, a few weeks ago, we went out there together. You guys were actually with me when we bought this pumpkin. We bought some squash and a few other things out there that day. I decided I was going to do a fresh pumpkin again this year. I'm not a huge fan of all of the strings. They feel kind of gross, but it's what you got to do. It always seems really hard to get all of that out. It's just in the pumpkin so well that it's hard. But I want to get all of my seeds before I start just pulling all of the strings out. All right, now we need to cut our pumpkin into some smaller pieces so we can put this in the oven. I find that if you do smaller chunks, it cooks in a little less time than if you were to put a big, like half of this pumpkin in there. And I'm gonna take my knife and I'm just gonna kind of clean up a little bit of this stuff right here, because I really don't want any of that in my puree. So I'm just gonna use my knife. You don't need to oil these or anything. You just put them straight in the oven, just like they are. No extra anything. I think I'm gonna cut this one more time this way. We wanted to put them cut side down on our pan. Our oven is preheated to 375. Again, I'm just going to take my knife and just kind of clean up a little bit of this string mess that's on here. I just really don't want that in my finished puree. Stem end right here, just so we're not going to have to deal with that. And we're going to go ahead and cut our piece in half, and then we're going to clean up the inside one more time just to get these strings out of here. And then we're going to have about an hour to go do something else, which is nice. So just make sure you're getting the right kind of pumpkin. If you're not sure when you're at the farm, just ask somebody that works there. I guarantee you that those people know what kind of pumpkins they need that they sell and which ones would be good for doing pumpkin puree. All right, so here's all of our pumpkin. We're gonna get these in the oven, 375 for about an hour. Our pumpkin is just about done. I wanna get something going on the stove over here for the cookies that we're gonna make. I asked my husband a little bit ago, I called him and I said, what would you like me to make with the pumpkin puree? Do you want pumpkin bread, pumpkin muffins, pumpkin scones, pumpkin cookies? He picked cookies. I'm not surprised because that's something he loves. So I found a recipe for a brown butter maple pumpkin cookie that looks absolutely incredible. I cannot wait to make this. It's a new recipe. So when my husband gets home, I'll have him try this cookie recipe for you guys. But to make these cookies, we have to make some brown butter. Friends, if you've never made brown butter for cookies, you definitely need to, because it is a flavor that literally sends a cookie recipe over the top. So we're gonna do 2 sticks. We need 1 cup of brown butter. To make brown butter, you wanna put this in a pot on the stove over low heat. You don't want to cook this too hot and too fast because the butter will burn. But basically what we're doing is we are browning this butter, we are caramelizing it, we are getting it to, as the name says, brown. We're getting it to a brown color, and that gives everything such a like caramely and just a really rich and just delicious flavor. So we need to get this brown butter going on the stove while our pumpkin is finishing up. Should be coming out of the oven here in just a couple of minutes, but I want to get this started on the stove. The other thing, because we are using fresh pumpkin, we're not using canned pumpkin, I'm gonna have to take what I need for the recipe out, put it on a strainer with some paper towel, and let it sit for about 30 minutes. Because I don't want all that liquid in this cookie recipe, because the cookies will be really runny. They won't set up, they just won't be very good. So we need to do that. So this is a lot of process, but you don't have to do this all in one day like I am. I'm doing it because I want to show you guys something with the pumpkin right after we've roasted the pumpkin and done the whole thing. So that's the only reason I'm doing it this way. But you could totally roast the pumpkin, make the puree, put it in the fridge, and then use it later. But I'm doing it all today. So we're showing you the roasted pumpkin. We're showing you a cookie, and we're also going to show you the roasted pumpkin seeds. I have them in a bowl right here. You can see the bottom down here. The pulp that was stuck to these has now kind of fallen to the bottom of the bowl. We just keep kind of giving it a little bit of a stir every now and then, and that just kind of releases the rest of it. And then what I will do with this is I'm going to put this in a strainer. I'm going to just fish out the seeds out of the water. I'm not going to dump it. I'm just going to fish them out into a strainer. I'm going to give them a spray with my sprayer on my sink, kind of get the rest of the pulp off of it. And then these are going to go onto some paper towel. We're going to pat them dry. They're going to go into some parchment paper. They're going to go into an oven, and we're going to roast these, and they're going to be fantastic. I cannot wait to eat these. I love pumpkin seeds. So friends, let's get our pumpkin out of the oven. I think it's done. I'm going to go ahead and pull this one out. I am going to preheat my oven right now, my top one, to 375 because I'm going to cook my pumpkin seeds in a minute. But I need to get this pumpkin out. You can tell that our pumpkin is cooked all the way, is you should be able to stick a fork in it and have it go in nice and easy without any effort, kind of like a potato. And so now I know that these are done. I'm gonna let these sit here on the stove, or on the stove on this tray, for probably 10 minutes or so, because I want to be able to come in and pull this skin off, scoop all of that pulp right into my food processor, and we're going to puree it. That's essentially what pumpkin puree is. It is roasted pumpkin pureed, and that's it, nothing else in it. Pumpkin pie filling will have eggs and seasonings and sugars and all the things in it. We're keeping it pure pumpkin, so I can do whatever I want to with this. I can control the sugar that goes into it. I can control the spices that go into it, all the things. So friends, our butter is going over here. It's gonna brown. Our pumpkin's cooling. Our seeds are finishing, just kind of letting that pulp loose. And as soon as that stuff's done, we're gonna come back and we're gonna get all these things going. Our pumpkin seeds are right here. I went ahead and put these on some paper towel just so that I could get them a little bit dry. We're gonna go put some parchment paper on our baking sheet. And then we're gonna dump our pumpkin seeds right on here. I've got my paper towel. They kind of have stuck a little bit, but that's okay. We're just getting them dry. I was looking through my cupboard to see what kind of seasoning I wanted to put on these. My husband and I tend to like things that are kind of sweet, spicy, a little bit smoky, that kind of thing. So I found my Kinders. This is black cherry chipotle, and I think that's going to be fantastic on these pumpkin seeds. Give you a little bit of sweet with that black cherry, a little bit of heat with the chipotle. I think it's going to be amazing. These are going to be great for snacks. They'll be perfect for putting on some salads this week. I love pumpkin seeds on my salad. I am going to put just a tiny bit of oil on these. I don't want to put too much, because too much oil and they're going to steam instead of roast, and I want them to roast. Got just a couple more here, and then I think we got all of our pumpkin seeds. So I'm going to spread them out. We're going to roast these at 375. I'm going to put just a tiny bit of olive oil, just a little sprinkling. I have not tried this seasoning. I got it on clearance at Fred Meyer. I'm gonna get the seal off of this. Our brown butter is smelling amazing. If you have never browned butter before, I highly recommend it. It is so good. I have a brown butter chocolate chip cookie that I make that is one of my husband's favorites. I have not made that in quite a while, so I may have to make that here soon. All right, let's put the lid back on. We're just gonna give this a liberal sprinkling with this seasoning, and then we're gonna toss them. This seasoning smells incredible. I'm gonna go ahead and toss our pumpkin seeds. Try to get them in as much of a single layer as I can. I know it's gonna be impossible to get them fully separated, but just do the best you can. I'm gonna get these into our 375 oven, and we're just gonna roast them until they are nice and done and toasty and crispy. So while those are in the oven, let's get started on our pumpkin puree. I'm gonna pop the lid off of this, and I'm gonna just take each piece. If I see a little bit of the string, I'm not gonna worry too much. It's gonna get, and I'm just gonna scoop all of this pumpkin off of this skin and right into my food processor. We don't want to waste any of this. I'm telling you, friends, once you do a fresh roasted pumpkin, you will never go back to canned pumpkin stuff. I do it in a pinch when I can't get fresh pumpkin that time of year. There's a lot of time during the year when you cannot get fresh pumpkin. I love to have some in my freezer if I can. This one pumpkin is going to give us quite a bit of pumpkin puree, which is going to be amazing because that's going to give us lots and lots of delicious pumpkin things over the fall and into the early winter season. But like I said, I was a little intimidated the first time I did this. And I don't know why I was. Because it's not that hard. It's not scary. You almost can't screw it up. You know, it's basically just roasting the pumpkin until it is nice and soft and tender. All right, I'm gonna do one more piece and then we're gonna puree this. I don't want to overload my food processor because I'm afraid if I do that, then we're just not gonna have it very well pureed. I love the smell of fresh roasted pumpkin. All right, so let's go ahead and put our lid on. Let's puree this portion of it. So here's our bowl of puree, and you can see there's some liquid down there, and we don't want that in our cookie dough. So I'm going to line this strainer with some just paper towel right here on the bottom. I need 1/3 cup of pumpkin. I'm gonna go just a tiny bit heavy on the cup, on the 1/3 cup, because I'm gonna let this sit here, and I may end up having some of my pumpkin puree actually stick to this paper towel. So I wanna make sure that I have enough pumpkin in there. And I think I'm out of spatulas. We'll just use this one. So I want to get all of this pumpkin out of here. The rest of this pumpkin, I'm going to let this sit here for just a couple of minutes. And then we're going to package all of this pumpkin up and get this into some freezer bags. Like I said, we are going to do this in 1/2 cup and 1 cup bags so that I know what size recipe I can make with each one of those. And it's gonna make it super easy. So we're gonna let this sit here, just gonna let that paper towel wick out some of the liquid. Our brown butter is almost done. That needs to chill for about 30 minutes so that it's not super hot. And then we're gonna make our delicious cookies. All right, friends, I just pulled our brown butter off the stove. Look at this. Is that not beautiful? We're gonna put this in our measuring cup right here because we need to let this chill. While our pumpkin is getting the moisture out of it with the paper towel, we're gonna let this cool right here at room temperature until it is, we don't want it to solidify, but we do want it to really cool down, because if we put this in our cookie dough right now, it would melt everything, and we don't want that. So we're gonna put this in our cup. We're gonna let this cool down, and then friends, we're gonna make these delicious cookies. You can see all of that beautiful, beautiful color. And friends, we don't want to waste. That right there has to be in here. So we want to make sure we get all of that brown flavor is what that is. Oh my word, friends. Like I said, if you've never made anything with brown butter, first off, make this recipe, but also make lots of things with brown butter, because the smell that comes off of this is incredible. I absolutely love the smell of brown butter. It is warm, it's toasty, it's caramely, it's all the things that is going to make this cookie dough recipe absolutely incredible, friends. So our pumpkin is doing beautiful things over here. It's getting that liquid off of it. We're going to let this sit here and chill for about 20 minutes or so, and we're gonna come back and put these cookies together. All right, friends, let's get these cookies made. Let's get them in the oven. Hubby's gonna be home in about a half an hour, and I wanna have some warm cookies for him when he gets home so he can give these a try for you guys. So I've got 2 1/4 cups of flour in my mixing bowl, and I'm gonna put in a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm gonna put in 1 1/2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. And I'm gonna go a little heavy. This is a 1/2 teaspoon, so I'm gonna add just a little bit of extra because I love pumpkin pie spice, and we're using a fresh raw pumpkin in this, so I think it can handle just a little bit of extra spice. And the last thing we need for our dry ingredients is 1 teaspoon of baking soda. We're gonna give these things a quick little mix together. I like using a whisk for these things. I think it lightens the flour up quite a bit and just really helps with getting everything mixed together really well. So we're just gonna use a whisk, kind of mix these things together. All right, let's swap out, get the other bowl. I've got my 1.5 cups of brown sugar in here. I'm gonna put in my 1 tablespoon of maple syrup and my 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Get that all out of our measuring cup. I've got my 1 cup of browned butter that we made together. Make sure that we get all of that brown butter deliciousness in the bottom down here. We don't want to waste any of that. That is what's going to give these cookies such incredible flavor. All right, we're going to mix these all together. Recipe says that this may look a little bit chunky, which we're okay with that. I think it smells delicious, honestly. And we've got our 1/3 cup of fresh pumpkin. You can see all the liquid that came off of that on our paper towel. We're just gonna drop that right in here. I wanna mix these things together really well. I wanna get that pumpkin fully incorporated into our sugar. I need to go grab our egg real quick. We're gonna put 1 egg yolk in here. Got our 1 egg yolk. I'm gonna whisk these all together. And I am gonna grab a spatula when I mix this into my dry ingredients because I don't want to lose any of this delicious flavor that's in this bowl. Let's get this all poured in here. Got a spatula. We're just gonna scrape all of this out. Don't want to waste any of this. All right, let's go ahead and give this a quick mix around. So we're gonna roll these cookies before we bake them. We're gonna roll them in a cinnamon and sugar mixture. I'm actually gonna use what I have left over from another recipe that I made last week. I saved the cinnamon, or not cinnamon, but the sugar and the pumpkin pie spice. And that's what I'm gonna use to dip these. I saved that because I knew that I was gonna be making something later on this week and I was gonna need that. So I just saved it because, let's face it, friends, ingredients are super expensive right now. And the last thing I wanna do is waste anything. So I knew I was gonna be able to use it, so I just kept it in a Ziploc bag. It's perfectly fine to use. There was nothing in that that was raw, so there was no contamination or anything like that. So it's gonna be perfectly fine. All right, so here's our cookie sheet. I'm gonna get a bowl so we can dump this in. Friends, I pulled out our first batch of our pumpkin cookies. They smell incredible. Brown butter, maple pumpkin cookies. Oh my word. They smell absolutely incredible. Hubby should be here in just a couple of minutes. I'm gonna have him try them. The other pan is in the oven. We have our pumpkin seeds back here. Now, they are not burnt. Just so you know, they are not burnt. Because of the black cherry chipotle seasoning that we put on these, they are, it's just the caramelization on them. But, friends, they're amazing. They are so good. Absolutely love them. We can't wait to eat those. We also got, let's see here, 4 bags of 1/2 cup pumpkin puree. and 2 bags of 1 cup pumpkin puree. So we've got lots and lots of pumpkin to use up over the next few months with pies and donuts. I have a recipe for a pumpkin donut that I want to make for you guys. We're probably going to do it on a live one weekend. I need to look at the schedule and see when I can squeeze that in. But I think that would be super fun to be able to do some pumpkin donuts with you guys on a live video sometime. So yeah, friends, we made some incredible things today. Hubby should be here in any minute. And as soon as he walks in the door, we're going to have him taste a cookie and give you guys his opinion. But it was so much fun today, friends, getting to process a pumpkin with you guys, show you how to cook it, show you how to process it, puree it, and how to make some delicious things with the pumpkin using the seeds and the puree and all the things. And it just feels so good now to know that I can go into Thanksgiving ready to do all kinds of pumpkin desserts and all kinds of things. So hubby should be here in a minute and we're gonna give these cookies a try. All right, friends, hubby just got home. Here are our beautiful brown butter maple pumpkin cookies. We're gonna let hubby give these a try, see what he thinks of this new cookie recipe.
Brown butter
and maple.
Sounds pretty rich to me.
They're supposed to be a really soft cookie.
It almost has the texture of a donut. It does.
Are they good?
Yeah.
All right, there you go, friends. You heard it from the hubs. He says they're good.
I need a cup of coffee now.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me in my kitchen today as we process this fresh pumpkin. We got several bags of pumpkin puree. We made some delicious cookies, and we've got so many fun things to do coming up with all of this fresh pumpkin that we did. I'm excited. I'm almost tempted to get one more pumpkin from Thistledown before they close. They're going to be closing on November 2nd will be their last day that they're open. So I may grab one more pumpkin just so we have plenty of fresh pumpkin to get us through the rest of fall and into winter, because I love making pumpkin muffins and pumpkin bread and all the things. So friends, if you guys have not yet, please hit that subscribe button up there. I would love to have you a part of my YouTube family. Hit that notification bell so you're notified every time we upload a video. We've got so many fun things coming up here in the very near future. You don't want to miss the holiday series that's going to be kicking off on November 1st. Every single day in November and through December, you're going to find a fun new either recipe or a group of recipes together to get you through all of the holidays coming up. So I'm excited to share all of those with you guys. So make sure that you guys are subscribed so you don't miss out on those things. And friends, we'll talk to you guys in the comments. Have a great day and God bless.